Extra value meals are back. That means 10 tender, juicy McNuggets and medium fries and a drink are just $8. Only at McDonald's.
For limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
Ah, DSW, birthplace of the humble brag. Here, the shoes are so good, no one would ever know how little you paid. If you didn't go telling everyone, that is. And with never-ending options for every style, mood, and occasion, all at really great prices. We'll definitely give you something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands. Or try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
The holidays are back at Starbucks, so share the season with the peppermint mocha made with Starbucks signature espresso velvety mocha and cool peppermint notes topped with whipped cream and dark chocolate curls. Together is the best place to be at Starbucks. Can confirm. There is something about the holiday drinks at Starbucks that just hit different, JVT. Are you that way too?
As a former barista, I can tell you that the best drink that Starbucks has to offer is indeed the peppermint mocha in all forms, by the way. You can get it blended, you can get it hot, you can get it iced with those dark chocolate curls. Love them. And absolutely my favorite drink.
I'm such a fan. We are a highly caffeinated program here on Money Moves.
From what I gather, we're also a very pro mint and chocolate combo too.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great segue too. Did anyone else know that there are mint M&Ms that exist?
Yeah, chocolate mint M&Ms.
I didn't know this.
I didn't know either. They were in the gift shop, and I was like, because you're kind of a candy freak, so I was like, we got to try these.
What a compliment. Go to Starbucks, get some M&Ms, get the day started right. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Back here on Money Moves. One more hour to go. And we do have a big game on deck in Thursday Night Football. And I know that the spread might not give you that indication when you're looking at a 9.5, 10 number with the Broncos and Raiders coming up tonight. But these division games can get weird. Thursday night games can get weird. And this is a Broncos team that hasn't exactly been known for covering big spreads this season either, if you look into some of the numbers, JVT.
No, although I guess as a home favorite, let me double check on this number before do you have it?
Here's what this is what I was going to say. Okay. So this is the largest favorites role that Denver has been in since week 1 when they were laying 9 at home against Tennessee. Only won that game by 8. Yep. In fact, Denver has been a favorite of a touchdown or more 4 times this season and only covered one other time. So that September 29th game at home against Cincinnati, they were laying 7. They won 28-3. They did not cover the 9 against Tennessee. They did not cover the 7 against the Jets, and they did not cover the 8.5 against the Giants. Won that game by 1, but needed that 33-point fourth quarter comeback to do so.
Sure.
And Thursday Night Football big favorites haven't been particularly profitable this season either. Teams favored by 7 or more on Thursday night. 1-4 ATS with 2 outright losses.
Okay, so then the stat that I was about to rattle off is fake because it does not jive mathematically with what you were just ripping off right there, so I will not say it. But I'll say this. So the game itself, I like the Raiders. I'm going to regret it. We talk about asking these bad teams to do good things for you, but I'm going to ask one more time because I think they can stay inside of this. I think the Broncos, we've talked about the fact that they are really reliant on some of these big plays. If you really break down the way their offense has been operating, maybe they get a couple in this fourth quarter, but the Raiders have oddly been very good at keeping these big plays from happening. A top 10 defense in terms of limiting explosive plays, both on the ground and through the air. We should also note that the Raiders are getting slightly healthier. Lonnie Johnson's going to make his season debut today, so that's pretty good. A defensive backfield that just needs bodies is going to get another one tonight. So that's going to really help a team that has been pretty good at limiting what they've given up through the air and on the ground. I think that they could stay inside of this. Now, the big question, and you posed it when we talked about this earlier, and this is going to, I think, dovetail nicely into some of the props that we're going to discuss, is how does the offense do it? I don't know if it can, but I do know how. He came back last week and got 13 targets, and I think it's Brock Bowers. It's low-hanging fruit, but how are we not looking at over receptions for Brock Bowers today? Maybe over receiving yards, but just asking him to meet the market's standard in terms of volume. He doubled up the next guy in terms of targets last week, and Jacoby Myers is gone. This is the Brock Bowers show 100%.
So 12 catches on 13 targets last week, 123 yards, 3 touchdowns. His 90.5 PFF receiving grade leads the league among all tight ends.
By the way, say that again, too. 12 receptions on 13 targets. The reception rate is really high.
Caught everything that came his way. In terms of receptions, so that prop is 6.5. You are getting plus 103 to the over on that number. The receiving yards, 69.5. If you're wondering, so those have gone up. Just to FYI, like even as we're getting closer and closer to kickoff, those numbers have gone up. But the Broncos against tight ends, just 25th in coverage grade. 2 of the last 3 weeks, tight ends have had a lot of success against this defense. Looking at Dalton Schultz leading Houston in receiving yards against them, had 6 catches, 77 yards. A couple weeks ago, Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger combined for 6 catches, 156, and 2 scores when they faced the Giants. So we have seen in the recent sample, tight ends have success against this defense.
Yeah. So this is going to be, for me, Raiders plus 9.5 tonight, and then Brock Bowers over 6.5 receptions. Like that's, I think, the way to attack this. I also thought, looking at it from the perspective of the Broncos, let me pull this up to see if I can get you an actual number. Do we not, if we're right in thinking that the Raiders numbers are true and accurate in terms of the ability to limit big plays, longest completion for Bo Nix is 35.5. You go under?
I get the rationale, but I think I might stay away from that one because the attempts are still going to be there. So you don't think they could pop one?
Well, and that's the way that they show. There's a lot of good numbers that would explain that Bo Nix is. So the numbers are really different in terms of Bo Nix versus zone and then Bo Nix versus man. And Bo Nix versus man coverage has been very, very good. Now, as it is explained, and it makes a lot of sense, part of that is the ability to extend plays because you're athletic and then find a guy that's lost his dude downfield. And then, boom, you're going to grade out better against man coverage than versus zone when you have to read, react, do all those sort of things. One would assume that the Raiders have their hands on those numbers and that you're going to see a high volume of zone coverage for a team that plays a high volume of zone, that limits big plays. Like all of those would steer you toward not giving up a play of 36 or more yards downfield potentially.
It is a big number.
And as somebody who thinks the Raiders can stay inside of it, like that, I think is all kind of tied together with one another.
So
don't you think?
I think that maybe I'm playing devil's advocate with you more because there was another prop I was looking at that is a pop play type of a thing. I was going into the numbers for Troy Franklin, Broncos wide receiver, because Joe Lombardi was very complimentary of him this past week. He was talking about he keeps growing, getting better, want to keep the snowball rolling in terms of his in terms of his confidence. Only 4 catches last week, but he was targeted 10 times. 8+ targets, 3 straight weeks, 3 touchdowns in that time. The receptions numbers are low, but they're targeting him downfield in most of those instances. And the Raiders are 27th in coverage grade specifically to wide receiver 2s. So I was looking at longest reception for him at 18.5 as something that caught my eye with the way that they're targeting him.
We still got some wiggle room there.
We do have wiggle room. But I haven't bet it, but it was something that I was contemplating this week, just the way that he has been targeted. And he hasn't been like having huge receptions and huge yards numbers, but he has caught the pop play and has been targeted deep.
Sure. I think there's something to that. It's funny because I was listening to Pete Carroll. We played a clip for Pete Carroll's press conference, and one of the things that they had brought up was tackling, and this is going to tie into what you're talking about. And they said like they wanted to work on it, but they didn't want to match the physicality because it's a short week, and they were asking like, well, then how do you do that? And he had some weird convoluted answer about like pretending to be in situations and whatnot. So my whole point here being is, I do wonder if on a short week, and we'd have to go back and like kind of corroborate this, if the tackling is really poor in a short week and we get maybe a higher rate of big plays because you're playing short, you don't want to, it's not the same physicality level, whatever it is. Maybe I'm thinking too much about it, but that would be something in your corner as well in terms of getting a big play on a short week when these guys aren't as sharp, potentially with their tackling.
What do you think about Genty in the receiving game today as well with no Jacoby Myers, maybe utilizing him a little bit more in that role? Last week in particular, we did see him catch, caught all 5 targets that came his way, 47 yards and a touchdown through the air. He's been targeted 4 or more times in 3 of his last 4 games.
That to me is the big one. So you mentioned it. So there was, if you look at since the Chicago game, you had the 2 catches there, and he had 2 touchdowns in that game, whatever it was. And then after that, we've seen the volume really tick up, like you've talked about.
He had 2 catches in that game, and both of them were touchdowns at the goal line.
And the Chiefs game, they get blown out. But if you look at it, you're talking 6, 4, and 5, as you're talking about with these others. So if we're buying in to what some metrics would tell you is that a weakness of Denver's defense is that they're not great at covering backs out of the backfield. And as you said, Myers isn't out there trying not to bottle up your offense, which has been wildly ineffective. He's averaging well under 4 yards per carry. So then how can you get him more touches and be more effective? Well, it would probably be getting him out in space. And we are coming off of a game in which he has had his best receiving game in terms of both targets and yards, 9.4 yards per reception last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So
what's the better angle? The juiced over 2.5 receptions at -128 or the yardage at 19.5?
I'm always a fan of receptions or rushes because I'm playing on the volume that I think is going to be there. And you don't need them. I mean, we've seen plenty of times where a guy will get a large volume of receptions out of a backfield, but because he's catching it back there, I mean, look at him himself. I was watching this with Doug Kazarian that night on Monday Night Football. He had 3 receptions for 1 yard against the Chargers on Monday night. So you go over the reception prop, but you don't go anywhere near your receiving yards prop. And I think that could be something worth looking at in terms of I prefer to gravitate toward, if I'm handicapping the workload, I don't need them to succeed. I just need the workload to be accurate, and I'd rather go over receptions.
They're really killing me on this season-long touchdowns prop for Genty.
Well, they're not even scoring touchdowns. So.
That's true. Actually, I was going through because I was looking. I like to have a little fun. Do we want to do a first touchdown scorer type of a thing? I've had success with the anytime touchdowns the last week or so. So trying to see if there's anything more.
The team specific ones.
Yeah.
You got one?
Well, I was looking at Cortland Sutton. Maybe he scored Denver's first touchdown
Why
3
are you leaking
times,
confidence?
Including last week, but. So the Broncos.
Say it with your chest.
So the Broncos have scored the first touchdown in 6 of 9 games this season, despite only 1 being the first drive of the game, which I found interesting. The Raiders have had 3 games this season without a touchdown at all. So it's that's the way I would probably.
Yeah,
go if I had to.
I would also, as we're kind of getting ready for these props too, part of my process would also be going to VSiN.com and checking out everything we have.
And that is a good note because all these numbers that we're discussing, you can compare them with the Opta AI projections that we have on VSiN.com right now. You get unlimited access to it all at VSiN.com/subscribe. And not only do we have it for the NFL, where you can type in a player's name and look at certain stats for quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers, but in the NBA right now as well, points, rebounds, assists, 3-point projections, all of that are available. But if you want access unlimited each and every day, you got to be a full-time subscriber. Again, VSIN.com/subscribe is how you can come join us. We're going to continue the NFL talk next, diving into things from a contest perspective, looking at the full Week 10 card coming up next.
Come to DSW for the shoes, stay for the fun. Because let's be honest, if shoe shopping isn't fun, are you even doing it right? So go ahead, try something new. Try something different. Good different. Try something that feels like you. You know, the real you. And then definitely brag about it later. Because at DSW, you've got unlimited freedom to play. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW. Let us surprise you.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Is changing the game for us as sports bettors. You get a 20% deposit match up to $100 on your first purchase, plus 0% commission on player props and 1% on everything else. Every $50 you wager on parlays in November earns an entry to win a $500 restaurant gift card of your choice, with drawings each and every Tuesday. Real markets, real prices, no house edge. Download ProfitX now and use the promo code VSiN to get started. That's VSIN. Check out ProfitX today. Restaurant gift card. I like that. Changing it up.
I'm a big restaurant guy.
Do you have a go-to spot?
Not really. I mean, I've always said this. I have no shame because somebody at one point in my life on social media, one of our listeners, they called me snooty or something like that. Because I'm a foodie. I like to go to fancy restaurants and things like that, try different things. But a staple in the Von Tobel household, not to curry favor, is the B.
The B?
Applebee's.
I've never heard it referred to as the B. I was trying to think. I was like, are you, because I like Bojangles? Is that the direction you're trying to go right now?
No, I drove by that the other day, though. I got to check that out.
Yes. Oh, you've never had it?
Never had Bojangles before.
Oh, come on. Yes, we got it.
Oh, come on. Isn't it like a Southern thing?
Can we do this together? I want to be there when it first hits your lips so that you can feel the joy for the first time. I want to relive that moment for myself. It's so good. Honey mustard you can drink. I don't even like honey mustard. But
what is honey mustard akin to like the Chick-fil-A sauce? Is that like the similar flavor profile?
I mean, I guess it's like,
I've never had honey mustard. I can tell you that now.
I guess it's the same color, but no, I wouldn't consider it. It doesn't taste like Chick-fil-A sauce. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the flavor profile of honey mustard, but if, as I'm being told in my ear, it is spicy, then I'm down.
I mean, not super spicy. There's a little bit of a kick to this Bojangles one in particular, but man, I'm telling you. It's good, baby.
Isn't it a Southern thing? That's why I've never had it. Like my forays into the South have been few and far between.
And I don't know where the second one has opened up in Vegas, but the first one is right by my house, which is very far away from you. So that checks out. That said.
Yeah, where was I the other day? I was driving by it. I don't know. Whatever.
The one on Blue Diamond?
Yeah, that one. Oh, I know where it was.
People that are not in Las Vegas, like, what are you talking about? But bow rounds and a chicken Cajun filet biscuit are a game changer. That said, we do have to get into some contest lines here, which is good because even if you're not involved in a contest where we have to specifically like force ourselves to pick 5 games against the spread every week for Circa Million here where we're broadcasting from at Circa Resort and Casino, it's still a good exercise to get some feel for how you guys want to approach the Week 10 slate. And this week in particular, there are a few I know that we're going to be like-minded on and a few that I'm not necessarily sure what I want to do with it. Okay.
What do you think we'll be like-minded on?
So this is kind of like maybe we won't be because it's over the key number of 7 now that I'm looking at it in the contest number. We were just talking about how we think the Lions are going to bludgeon the Washington Commanders, but it's 7.5 on the road, and I don't know if I like that number.
Yeah, I mean, it's... Right now, considering the situation for Washington, I wouldn't say no, especially when I think we're probably going to head to like 8.5 at some point. So we'll be laying 7.5 at a number that closes like 8.5. I mean, there's so many different factors. Obviously, Jaden Daniels is not going to be there. Lattimore is out for the rest of the season as well. I don't know how much you factor into this or how much it tips this scale in one direction. This Lions team is probably looking for a little revenge, are they not? After last year's NFC divisional game. So
revenge, bounce back from last week.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of motivation angles for them this week.
Yeah, there's a lot of like situational and like on-field things that I think work in the Lions' favor. I'll tell you, like I'll put it this way. This is not to throw any shade at you from last week. The Lions were 100% your pick last week.
Yes.
This would be 100%, 50% both ways.
Okay, so that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
I was so confident last week. I really liked the Lions in that spot. Everything leading into the game told me.
I really like the Colts.
That the fact that I don't even win my teaser leg and they lose outright is sickening. All right, neither here nor there. You like the Falcons this week. I do know that.
Yes, I do.
I have the Colts in a teaser, so that's going to be hard for me, like as an emotional conflict. But I think both things can happen here.
Well, of course, but like we don't have to because you teased it down to a half. We can get to the analysis of it a little bit later. But we'll put it this way. This is obviously a true neutral. The Colts are 6.5 points better than the Falcons on a true neutral. We're talking, 8 potentially back in Indianapolis? That, to me, it's just, I think we're very much at the top of the power rating for the Indianapolis Colts. This isn't hey, all things are falling apart. It's over after last week. I just think that we're really far along with where this team is being priced. And, credit to, I guess, myself to an extent, although we did end up losing it. But what did I say at the tail end of the week? I had really cooled on the Colts at -3. And one of the things we had brought up was like, look, man, you were on the road against the Chargers a couple of weeks back. You were catching 1.5, 2. Market was telling you that. Now all of a sudden you're laying 3 against a similarly rated opponent away from home. You can go back to last week where, let me double check this. Again, I'll invoke our market power ratings that we do every single week. The difference between these two on a neutral was like floating around 5 points. And now we're talking about 6.5. And the Falcons are healthy and they can pressure Daniel Jones. I just think the number screams that this is a little high. Okay. And by the way, there's a reason why it's not sitting at 7 either. There's no real rush to come out here and lay 6.5.
I keep forgetting that game's in Germany
as
well.
Right? It makes a little bit of a difference when you think about it from that perspective, right?
For sure. Browns laying 2.5 against the Jets, who no longer have any good pieces on defense.
Do you have anything here?
No.
Because I have a game I feel strong about.
Oh, go for it.
I need to pitch to you here. If we could flip to the next page, please, because I don't think I see it on here. Let us.
Is it the Chargers?
No, it is not.
I was like, please don't make me do that.
Give me the Giants plus 4.5. Come on now.
In Chicago?
Yep. It's a big number. The Bears defense, as we learned last week, is not good. If you look at the numbers for Jackson Dart, one of the things that sticks out, when you cannot pressure him, he's actually pretty decent. They're pretty good in the red zone. I think a lot of that has to do with, we've seen it. Like, he can run. They actually have a decent ground game, like when they're working off of it. I just don't like this Bears defense, and I think you can get after Caleb Williams. And, we talked about Bo Nix and the pressure to sack rate, the ability to get out of pressures so they don't turn into sacks. That is not the case with Caleb Williams. He can escape pressure, but my man takes sacks when he's not supposed to. He's a good defensive line. I think that the Giants can stay inside of 4.5.
Okay.
That's my pitch.
I don't have that wasn't a game that I had a strong feeling
not on your radar,
one way or the other. Is the Cardinals with Jacoby Brissett in Seattle something that caught your eye at all, just given the way that Seattle's been so much better, oddly enough, on the road than they have been at home? Yeah. And Jonathan Gannon's clearly has some level of confidence with what he's seen from Jacoby running the offense, the way they've unlocked Marvin Harrison Jr. and others. Thoughts?
I think they're better. I think this is the pumpkin game, though.
Okay, so scratch it off. That's fine. We can move on.
Like I'll say again, like, remember, 2 of the 3 opponents he faced are some pretty poor defenses statistically, and I think
do the Rams get revenge for Thursday night?
I acquiesce to you here. You have the floor. This is your team.
I think the Rams are much better than us.
Us. Wow, so you're making the trip after the show to get down to San Francisco to strap them up, huh?
I am covering a team from the area this week, albeit on the road. Cal Golden Bears headed all the way out to Louisville this week. So I could have. I mean, I've had a lot of frequent flyer miles out that way.
You're pretty much a Cal Golden Bear at this point. That is for sure.
I kind of wish that it was there.
Yeah, then I could have made the quick jaunt.
Oh no, I guess I do have to work a show on Sunday.
You can ignore that, but outside of that, so we're laying 4.5.
I mean, I don't want to. I want the 49ers to win at home, but I think that I feel like this Rams team is kind of humming. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're probably pretty freaking ticked off for already losing that game in the division to them on Thursday night that they should not have 4 weeks ago.
So is that a no?
And Puka Nacua, apparently back and good, and all of that stuff makes a big difference. So
we only have 2 out of 5.
We can do that. Like, we can...
That's yours.
I'm not betting it, but that's an option in my mind.
If you feel strong enough about it, I have no read for that. But I will say, I think
we got to make some more decisions then. We got 3 more games to go.
I know, but you don't like it. You don't like Indianapolis and Atlanta,
Eagles,
so we can't do that.
Eagles plus 2.5 on Monday night?
I would agree with that.
Eagles? Okay, Monday night.
Let me pitch to you one more here. I think we're on opposite sides here, though, so I don't think we'll pick this. Who do you like in Baltimore, Minnesota?
I like Baltimore, but
okay, Ravens. Let's do it.
You do?
Yep. Minus 3.5. Market's at 4 right now, but I do like Baltimore. I think they're getting better. Obviously, defensively, that's a big question. We'll go back and watch the J.J. McCarthy performance overall, but I think that the Ravens can run the ball and keep this Flores defense out of the situations it likes to be in, and I think laying 3.5 in this spot where the market's getting up to like 4, maybe even 4.5.
So
I would agree.
When we were watching the Vikings-Lions game in real time, I was like, oh my gosh, JJ's playing so well. I went back and looked at some stuff, and it was more like flash plays.
Oh, yeah.
He was not as good as that game, at least watching it would indicate.
We'll use fancy words. There was wide swaths of offense that were inefficient.
Yes.
Mixed in with some pretty big plays.
Yes.
So I think
I haven't been a huge Ravens fan this year, but I think with Lamar back and they're working out some kinks and they're adding to their defense, like, that matters.
Patriots, Bucks.
I like the Patriots. I figured we would be opposite on that one.
Do I smell a show bet?
I'm a Bucks believer. No, because no. What about the Panthers? Can they lay a number at home against a bad Saints team that's trading off pieces?
A true test of our belief.
We're doing it?
F yeah.
Carolina Panthers. If I had 150,000.
Not with the same.
Has anyone seen this song from the new Panthers? Like, I don't even know what to call it. Panthers. Carolina Mike, I believe is his name. Carolina Mike.
Yep.
$150,000 gonna buy a team. That can't buy a team. Look it up if you haven't already.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Thursday edition edition of Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, rolling along here on Sirius XM, channel 158. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Going to talk a little more NFL here, as well as an NBA sprinkle for the standalone game, as Nick Whalen joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. RotoWire senior analyst, host of the RotoWire Fantasy Sports Today show on Sirius XM Fantasy Channel 87. Also catch him on Sirius XM NBA Radio, the RotoWire NBA show. Nick, I actually want to start with the NBA here real quickly, if you don't mind, just because I was talking to JVT about this earlier. You go from the 11-game slate yesterday to just one standalone game today. How much, does that make you really dive into every possible betting market for a single game, or how do you approach the difference in a huge slate to the small one?
Yeah, I would say it depends on what that game is, and it's a little bit difficult to get fired up about Clippers Suns tonight with no James Harden, with no Kawhi Leonard out there for the LA Clippers. I mean, it's been a confusing start to the season for LA, even when those guys have been on the court. We're so early in the year that it's tough to look at the on-off data and really take anything from that. So I mean, I'm not saying I'm staying away from this game. I'm absolutely not. We have an NFL game tonight, of course, to focus on, but that's why we have multiple TVs in our households, guys. So I will be dialed in on Clippers Suns. For me, this is one that I look at more so in the prop market. You're trying to do a little bit of forecasting here, a lot of usage, of course, out of the lineup for the LA Clippers. I'm looking at John Collins over 24.5 points plus rebounds. He's been a little bit marginalized as just kind of a cog in this Clippers team, but still a really good player, a guy who's had plenty of big performances over the years when he was more of a featured option. I think we get that tonight. And then Bogdanovic, I think we're going to see a ton of him tonight for the LA Clippers. A lot of people want to be on Chris Dunn. I get that. Chris Dunn's not really a high usage guy. He doesn't see a major boost when James Harden is out of the game. I think we get that with Bogdanovic. He loves coming in. He loves firing away. So I look at the over 11.5 points for him, the over 1.5 threes. And if you're just looking for something in this game to keep your attention, we will see the debut of Jalen Green in a Phoenix Suns uniform.
Yes, we will. And I'm very much looking forward to it. How about really quick? I know you didn't bring this up. Do you know where some of these other assists might come from tonight for LA? Because I was messing with the idea of trying to find out where some of the dimes would come from with Harden's sideline. I was thinking about Bogdanovic, maybe Beal. They have to have another ball handler, and they don't have that many.
Right, that's the thing. The Clippers have been a pretty low assist team so far this season. Again, they've only played 7 games. A couple of those have been total disasters. You think of the Golden State game where they didn't even get to 80 points opening night against Utah. So it's kind of tough to read too far into those numbers. Bogdanovic, he can be a distributor. To me, he's probably going to be asked to be more of a scorer tonight. You could look at Bradley Beal, who has just been alarmingly absent so far this season for the Clippers. The number's sitting at 3.5 in the assist market for both of those guys. It's hard to say, man. It's hard to say. I don't see this being a great offensive night for the LA Clippers. I mean, if anything, I would lean Phoenix on the money line.
Yeah, spread 2.5, total 224.5. Phoenix on that money line price around -135. Nick Whalen, RotoWire senior analyst, joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Okay, let's get into that Thursday night football game in the AFC West. Broncos Raiders going head to head. Broncos a big home favorite in this spot. Two teams that largely feel like they've been going in different directions, as the Raiders lost their 6th game the other day in heartbreaking overtime form to the Jacksonville Jaguars. What are you looking at from a prop perspective tonight?
Yeah, this is a game I'm a lot more interested in the prop market. I would lean Denver. I would lean under tonight, but could be a look ahead spot for the Broncos, a team that despite putting together this winning streak, has had a few shaky offensive performances. You got the Chiefs on the schedule next week. I think it's a ball control script for Denver, and we've seen this over and over. I think there's kind of become maybe an internal lack of faith or recognition of who Bo Nix is at this point in his career. They're trying to limit risk as much as they can. That means we see a lot of J.K. Dobbins. He still hasn't ceded that job to R.J. Harvey. So I like the over 15.5 carries tonight for J.K. Dobbins. Vegas, one of the worst defenses in the NFL. They actually hold up okay against the run, but we saw Jacksonville essentially take this exact same script last week, 22 carries for Travis Etienne. So I think Denver follows suit tonight with the over 15.5 carries. And I'm taking a shot at Evan Ingram over 3.5 receptions. It's been a really disappointing first half of the season for Ingram. Broncos made a point to go out and get him. I thought he'd be a much bigger piece in this offense. He was held without a catch last week against Houston, but he had gone over this number in 5 straight prior to that, averaging over 6 targets per game in that stretch. Raiders defense been decent against tight ends, but again, I see this as more of a, run heavy dink and dunk type of script in the passing game for Denver.
All right, we were just talking about a couple of these games. Let's get your thoughts on some of these Sunday contests as we look to them. But what do you make of what the Lions have in store for Washington this coming weekend with a big number?
Guys, I think the worst case scenario for the Washington Commanders was Detroit getting tripped up last week by Minnesota. Just really, really hard to envision that happening 2 weeks in a row, even with some of the injuries going on right now for Detroit. That offensive line is banged up. The running game has not been at the level of last year. Detroit 20th in EPA per rush so far this season, but I'm not backing off the Lions. Yes, I was on them last week. Of course, that was just a total disaster game. Easily I thought the best defensive game of the year for Minnesota, but I mean, you're playing a dead Commanders team, right? I mean, the season was over before the Jaden Daniels injury late in that game last week. Now it is extremely over. And, everybody wants to focus on Daniels and McLaurin being out, understandably so. But this defense has completely fallen off a cliff over the last few weeks. They've given up 400 plus in 3 straight games. It's a bottom 5 defense now in terms of EPA per play. It's one of the worst pass defenses in football. Now you're taking Marshawn Lattimore out of the mix for the rest of the season. I could see this as our one last chance to save the season at home spot for Washington, but we know the trends for the Detroit Lions. Goff and Campbell, 21-8 ATS coming off of a loss. They've won and covered 12 in a row in this spot. I don't see a second straight letdown coming for Detroit.
Totally agree with you. And the Lions are going to be a base in a lot of teasers for me, more than likely coming up this weekend as well. My boy JVT was pretty adamant about how much he likes the Giants this week, taking on the Bears. You're looking at the total over in that game. What did you see?
Well, less than a week ago, guys, I saw what I believe was the worst defensive game I've ever watched in my entire life. And obviously the Cincinnati Bengals, who have the second worst defense by DVOA in the history of DVOA, have taken most of the heat for that. I thought the Bears defense was just as bad. It was just as bad for the full 4 quarters. Chicago has benefited a ton from some timely turnovers throughout the season. They lead the NFL in turnover rate on defense. More than 20% of opponent possessions are ending in a turnover. So I think that's putting a little lipstick on the pig as far as how bad that defense has been. I mean, Cincinnati turned it over 3 times and missed a field goal in the 4th quarter alone and was still leading that game with less than 30 seconds left. So I just see this as a spot where I don't trust either defense. I know we might have some weather moving through Chicago. It's cold in the Midwest, could be a little bit rainy. That doesn't really push me off this. And as bad as I think the Bears defense is, Giants defense has been equally bad over the last few weeks. They've given up 34, 38, 33 over the last 3 games, down to 29th in EPA per play, 26th in opponent success rate, dead last in the NFL in opponent EPA per rush. And that's the key here. I don't think this is a game where Chicago has to put the ball in the hands of Caleb Williams. I think you can ride DeAndre Swift. You can ride Kyle Monangai, much like they did last week. I don't necessarily have a strong lean on the side, though. I could totally see the Giants winning this game outright. I could see them covering the 3, 4.5. I just think we get points because I do not trust either of these defenses.
All right, what is 49ers superfan Stormy Buonantony in store for in this matchup this weekend against the Rams?
I'm looking at the under, guys, under 49.5. And, first and foremost, we're going through the weekly news cycle of will Brock Purdy be out there once again this week? I think as of right now, it'll probably be Mac Jones. To me, I would prefer it be Brock Purdy coming in, probably a little bit rusty after missing so much time. But either way, this is an under spot. Rams have gone under this number in 6 of 8. Niners have gone under in 8 of 9. Excuse me. Last week against the Giants was the first time this season that they've gone over this number, gave up a couple garbage time touchdowns in the 4th quarter. Even back in week 5, that big upset win for the Niners, that game went under this number. That was an overtime game. The Niners ran 83 plays. Both teams were over 400 yards of offense. I know this Rams team is rolling right now. They've also played Jacksonville and New Orleans the last 2 weeks. Niners defense being banged up. Obviously, that is a concern here, but both of these defenses have been really, really good in the red zone, both in the top 10 in opponent score percentage in the red zone. And I think both of these teams really want to ride the running game. I mean, San Francisco especially, 28 carries last week for Christian McCaffrey. Both teams want to control clock. Neither of these teams necessarily look to blow out opponents on a weekly basis.
Nick, great breakdowns as always. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Good luck with your bets.
Thank you, guys.
Nick Whalen, everybody. Again, you can check him out on SiriusXM Fantasy Channel 87, as well as SiriusXM NBA Radio, covering it all. We appreciate it. Follow him on X at Whalen, but the L is a number one in our hearts as well. And this is the best time of year, as always, to be a sports bettor. No better time to join VSiN Pro. And even with baseball over, we are still celebrating the sports equinox for one more week with our special for only $129. You get access to everything here at VSiN. That's the best bets. That's the betting splits. That's all of our AI-driven prop projections, 24/7 live and on-demand video, VSiN Watch app, vsin.com/subscribe is how you can come join us. All of these plays, again, available each and every day. When you're a full-time subscriber, vsin.com/subscribe. And we're going to dole out our best bets as well. Coming up next, final thoughts on Thursday Night Football. We've got plenty of college football as well loaded up here, so stick around. More Money Moves after this.
DSW, birthplace of the humble brag. Here, the shoes are so good, no one would ever know how little you paid. If you didn't go telling everyone, that is. And with never-ending options for every style, mood, and occasion, all at really great prices. We'll definitely give you something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands. Or try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Wrapping up this Thursday edition of Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you live from downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. We're going to get to some best bets in a moment. But
You're dying.
I'm dying inside right now.
So I have a very special talent, I think, of really... Well, actually, it might just be Stormy specific. No, but it's, I can really build something up. I think I'm good at selling stuff, I can really get you to buy in, make it sound exciting.
Can I tell everyone what you told me so that I can build the drama for them?
Yes, because you're right, because I
didn't
get to tease it on the other side because you kept talking about some promo or something like that.
I'm sorry, I was, doing my job. So we get to the commercial break and JVT goes, I just read the corniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
The corniest BS I've ever seen in my life.
And I go, okay, what is it? I'll tell you on the air.
Yeah.
But
save it for the air.
What? Why can't I know? So now that is the tease. What's the word?
Okay, so let's rewind a little bit. Did you see the video after the Vikings win of their locker room with J.J. McCarthy?
Yes.
The video of which him looking like a weirdo.
Yeah, that's kind of the...
What? Kind of the what?
It's kind of just the J.J. McCarthy staple, right?
Okay. Kevin Seifert, is that how you pronounce the name over at ESPN? One of your colleagues has a report. If you saw J.J. McCarthy's mean mug bit last Sunday,
it's his alter ego, right?
You'll be interested to know that he calls his alter ego, do you know the name of it?
No.
Quote, 9. The quote from J.J. McCarthy.
Is that his number?
It really kind of started to show up this year, and it came out about last year during IR. Just never had a full season where you want to be out there so freaking bad, but you can't. It was just this built-up anger that was kind of ready to just explode. And I chose to harness it instead of letting it go into self-destructive kind of way. And it's unique, and I kind of love feeding that wolf because my entire life at Michigan, there was a smiley face on my hand and a smile. You have fun. You're going to play better and all that, which is true. But I also think there's a lot of power that comes from that built-up anger that you can transmute into your performance, in which he calls 9, his alter ego.
That's just his number, though, right? Like, he's number 9, they call him 9.
I'm glad we're Baltimore.
Glad we're taking the Ravens in the contest this week.
What is this corn dog nature?
Listen,
get out of here.
No.
Yes.
There is a
if
thing,
Caleb Williams had come out and said that he called himself, I don't know, what's his number?
He
12?
doesn't call himself that. It sounds like...
Yes, he does. He calls it his alter ego.
But I'm saying that's something that was built up in the locker room, not just him like, oh, yeah, call me 9 when I've got when I'm in game mode.
That's corny, dude.
But I will say,
big downgrade.
Have you met a single player that doesn't say they're like a different dude when they're on the football field?
Yes, but saying you enter a different zone when competing in athletics is different than calling yourself another name.
I don't think he just calls himself that. Right. It's something that's built up. I think you're making too much out of nothing.
You're right. When I'm not in this studio, I'm not JVT. I'm Jonathan. But here I'm a different wolf and the same beast.
You're George.
That's right.
Alter ego.
That's right.
Alter ego.
Call him George. That's right.
George and Nicole coming at you.
It's very corny.
For anyone who missed it, we had a lot of middle name conversation on the program yesterday.
That is Stormy's middle name, Nicole.
Which I think, you know what, personally, I think that because my name is so weird on the front end and the back end, like we needed a stable, like foundational name in the middle. Nicole.
Let's be honest.
Like Stormy Buonantony, there's a lot happening there.
The second N is really what messes up your last name. If it was just Buonantony.
You can say it like that.
Right.
That's
I try
fine.
not to. I try to emphasize the second N.
Buonantony, it's very important to you. I think it's the B-U-O that messes people up because they want to go like true Italian where it's like the bon sound, but we Americanized it. What can I say? Okay, we got best bets to get to.
I just wanted to add really quickly, too. Very positive injury report for the Eagles that just came out, at least in terms of practice. Everybody except for the starting center, whose name escapes me, did not participate in practice today. Or everybody participated in practice except for your center. So good news.
Best bets recap. Yesterday, I went 0-2 in the ice, and I'm sick about it. So I'm staying off of the stick and puck tonight. But I am looking ahead to the college football weekend, and there are a few games that I am interested in. We talked about Mississippi State earlier, plus the 9.5, and I do like that. That might end up getting added to my card for the full game, but where I like it most is the first half specifically. Okay. Mississippi State plus 5.5 at home against Georgia. UGA has proven to be a slower starting team throughout the course of the year. Plus, Tim Murray's favorite sandwich spot between the cocktail party and Texas on deck for Georgia.
It's a big one.
Mississippi State at home, cowbells ringing. They have been a tough out.
What do you know?
And I saw it firsthand against Arizona State earlier this year. Mm-hmm. That place is migraine-inducing how loud it is. When you're on that end by the student section, it's going to be a tough day for Julian Sayin and that crowd. And I also think maybe like third quarter, second half adjustments for Georgia could be an interesting play as well. But that's too in the weeds for me. Mississippi State plus 5.5, just thinking that they are going to start strong. Georgia has been slower starting. It just made too much sense for me. Also in college football, Oregon, Iowa, first half under 20.5. Kinnick Stadium in November, pretty cold, rain, wind in the forecast. Slow starting game in the rain last time we saw Oregon against Wisconsin. And for as capable as this Oregon offense is, fifth highest scoring unit in the country this year, they're not running and gunning to score 40 points against this defense in those conditions. Good God. Speak, woman.
Do you have a concussion?
Oh, maybe. My brain's broken, apparently. But this is an Iowa defense, number 4 in the country, points per game allowed. They're great in a lot of areas. I think are just going to slow down Oregon. Iowa's offense operating at a much more efficient level with Mark Gronowski in the run game, but it's not explosive. I think they're going to be much more methodical, working their way downfield. So shorten the game up a little bit. I just feel like first half specifically, that makes sense to me to go under that number. And then I have a 3-team, 6.5 point college football road favorites teaser. Are you ready?
Wow, the road favorites. I didn't put that together. Okay, let's go.
Indiana, bringing them down from the big number at Penn State to 8.
Okay.
Georgia down to just 3 against Mississippi State.
So you're really trying to thread the needle here.
So that's why I don't think I'm going to play full game on Mississippi State, but first half specifically, I think it gets close. And then second half adjustments, Kirby's been great at that throughout the course of the year. It's the same angle I played this with when they played Ole Miss a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
It was Ole Miss first half. I think Georgia ends up handling business for the game.
Sure.
And that's how it played out.
Okay.
Texas A&M as well, just to win at Mizzou.
Okay.
And if you want to get even crazier and throw Oregon in there, just to win as well.
Wow, you like the road teams,
You can go crazy. Plus 140 for the 3-team teaser, and that is the official play. Plus 210 or something along those lines. I'm not good at math. If you wanted to add the 4th team.
Okay. Well, you got a 4th one. Go ahead.
Oh, I forgot. My 6-point teaser in the NFL as well. Lions minus 1.5 at Commanders. Colts just to win against the Falcons. Minus 125. I think that the Lions are going to be a base in a lot of teasers for me this week, including one that you have in pocket. I believe I will be adding by Sunday.
That's right. But unlike you, I will be going in order of our wonderful graphics so they can be unveiled properly. So let's go back to last night very quickly as our wonderful production crew has put together all of it. Wherever you want to go, we can do it. Either way, last night, see, I tried to stick up for you guys. I tried to do these things in order like I'm told, and we can't do it.
Baby.
There we go. All right, last night, Cavaliers team total over 121.5. No sweater. This thing, I don't know how much you watch, but Cavaliers starting to get healthy. Thank you. And they blitzed over this. They had 106 points going into the fourth quarter. So they got there with ease. Heat Nuggets under 242.5. In-game total reached over 260 at one point, but we still got there. And then Pelicans team total under 108.5. Frustrating one here. Lakers win by 2 last night. This was frustrating, not because of the result, but because I had bet this before the Austin Reeves news. And of course, had I known either way, still would have bet them, and they get there, but only by 2.
I would like to thank you as well for the Blazers' second half, because I had a tough day betting yesterday, and I did like a crock pot set it and forget it with Blazers -1 in the second half, and bless your soul.
You got it. Came back and won outright. So for the card, unveiled in order as our production crew has put together so wonderfully. Raiders +9 tonight against the Denver Broncos. We've talked about it a lot. No need to get into some crazy details here. Think they can stay inside of the big number. We will also add in a little bit a player prop, but we'll get to that, unveil the next one. I want to do it in order for you guys because I am a good team player. Colts? Falcons?
Guys, he needs to know what it is. You got to
There we go. Falcons +6.5. Thank you. I want to make sure we're doing this right. Falcons +6.5 against the Indianapolis Colts. We'll have more on this, but I think they're going to be able to get after Danny Dimes and that offensive line. It's a big number onto neutral. Also added Brock Bowers over 6.5 receptions at +105. And the teaser that you're referring to here, Lions -2, Eagles +8.5.
It's a beauty.
I like that a lot. I don't know,
really
man.
Nice.
I like it a lot. We'll see if that gets there. And then in college football, Mississippi State +9.5. I do think that they can stay inside of this number, the ultimate sandwich spot. So I'll go all in and ask them to stay inside of it. And we'll have more on this tomorrow. But give me UNLV -4.5 against Colorado State. I think the Rebels, the mission, a little bit more renewed. The flames now lit after what happened in the Mountain West this last weekend. UNLV's still got a shot to get to that conference championship game, and I think they're going to exercise some demons on a bad Colorado State team. So give me the Rebels -4.5.
That Lions-Eagles teaser, like, I don't know if you're a big wine person, but it's like just a Pinot Noir, goes down smooth. That's all I think about when I'm looking at that. Let's go.
Is that a red wine?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the best of the reds, in my personal opinion.
The
Not as heavy.
Pinot Grigio?
It's not as heavy.
Pinot
Noir and Pinot Grigio, different things.
Okay, sorry.
They're different things. All right.
All I know is that Moscato got a freaky, babe.
That's a wrap for us. On that note, he's Jonathan Von Tobel. I'm Stormy Buonantony for our crew behind the scenes, and Justin Emery. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Follow the money with Mitch and Paul coming up next. Keep it locked right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.